Hey everyone, this is James. It is April 16th, about 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC, USD on the Bitfinex exchange. First of all, this is not investment advice. And second of all, I'd like to just go over the overall trends. So we had our euphoric stage where we entered into the bubble phase. And then from thereafter, we've put in basically the aftermath of the bubble phase, which has been a series of lower highs and lower lows. All right. So I've posted some questions, I past videos, will we take out the 6,000 bottom? And the most recent videos is this currently the bottom in Bitcoin? So a temporary bottom, yes, but there's a few different things I'm waiting on, and I'll get to that in just a little bit. First of all, what you're going to see is the light red line set downward. That red line set is the former negative frequency that price was reacting to. Right in here, you can see how many times we've hit it and we failed, and then finally we broke out horizontally. Now, what we did was assume another negative frequency, and as we did that, we've broken out of that negative frequency too, and so far we've maintained above that area, which is a positive sign. So basically what these frequencies tell you in a nutshell is that there's more sellers than there are buyers in the market. But what we can see is that we've gone from this line to this line, okay? So we're kind of forming a quarter round of a bottom here, like so, right? And the reason why I'm hesitant on calling this the bottom and saying that's it, we're going to the moon and we're going to continue upward is a few different things. First of all, the overall trend is negative, all right? Which isn't too big of a factor because at any time that can be changed as long as we get a sustainable influx of buyers. But at the same time, as we've continued downward, I've seen the sentiment remain bullish. And in markets, when that happens, the runs that occur thereafter, okay, when the market tries to change the overall trend, it's not really a sustained move because the sentiment was never turned either neutral or even bearish. And mainly what you need is a complete change in the sentiment to where you don't see those crazy articles like where we're seeing people saying it's going to $250,000, in a couple of years, or $1 million like in a couple of years. You don't see those at all. You don't see it anywhere. You would see articles that are like, it's going to zero, blah, blah, blah. This is crap. You might as well buy rocks instead of Bitcoin. And, whatever other crazy negative stuff they could come up with. So we've seen the market maintain a bullish sentiment even during a series of lower highs and lower lows. The technology is great. It's not that I think there's anything wrong with cryptocurrency. It's just the sentiment, to me, from what I've seen throughout the internet, throughout the social media, etc., is the bullish sentiment remain bullish. I never saw an influx of bearish sentiment articles, okay? And the reason why that's a big factor is as price starts to go up, if everybody remains bullish, right, when the correction occurs, people typically start to get bearish. What that leads to is a decent sized correction. As the market corrects, big buyers will come in, and those who see what's happening, as long as the overall trend is up, okay? And as those buyers come in and the market starts to go back up, all those people who sat on the sidelines out here, let me change my marker real quick. All the people who bought in this section and started selling and freaking out now, right? They exit the market there, and as price goes back up, they all start jumping back in. So the sentiment has gone from bearish, right? Let me change the marker one more time. Bearish here. And then we went to bullish here. And as the sentiment changes in the market, okay, you can see this like in the gold market. Every time there's a correction in the gold market, I swear it's going to zero. And same thing with the stock market. Look at the recent correction. Okay, even if you're not invested in the stock market, chances are you've seen some headlines, you've seen some articles, and you could see how bearish the sentiment was. That the stock market was doomed. Everybody, it was going to zero. The U.S. economy was going to implode, and blah blah blah. You know, World War III was on the horizon, and it was just going to be the destruction of the U.S. stock market. Obviously, that didn't happen. But anyways, what we see is that the sentiment is changing. Okay, and that's why I can tell you, I don't know if you've watched my stock market video. If you haven't, that's fine. I'll basically summarize it in a nutshell, is that as we're bottoming in here in the stock market, okay, we're going back up now, but as we hit the bottom, the sentiment, I mean, it was crazy bearish. Like it was absolutely crazy on how bearish it got. It was just some of the stuff I read was hilarious. But anyways, so now we've done that and we're starting to churn back upward. As we churn back upward, that sentiment you're going to see, all right, whether you pay attention to the stock market or not, the sentiment's going to change and you're going to see it start to become bullish. As it starts to become bullish, that's like the warning sign that, okay, everybody's doing the happy dance, it's time to get out. Now, that is one big factor that has kind of held me back from calling this the bottom for Bitcoin, because the sentiment is still bullish. Okay, if we don't get the market to refresh and to create that absolute chaos in a market that refreshes that sentiment, that gets those bullish investors bearish, pushing as many people off to the sidelines as possible, then when the run does come, a lot of people are already invested into it. Okay, they never left. They're just dumping more and more and more money. There's no influx of new investors to make this thing break out to higher highs and create those higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so that's a major factor in any market, is sentiment. All right, big institutions that trade billions, hundreds of billions, and even more rely on data streams that give them the overall sentiment of markets. It's a huge factor because sentiment is human psychology, and stock and markets, I mean, this, if you understand human psychology and just the basics of when people are bullish and bearish, that's going to help you out tremendously. If everybody's doing the happy dance and they're telling you that this market is guaranteed to make you rich, Lamborghini dreams for everybody, then that's typically a red flag. Okay. If everybody's telling you it's going to, hell in a handbasket and it's going to zero and you're going to lose all your money, then chances are you're probably headed towards a bottom or very close to a bottom. As long as the market is, something that's been proven, like the stock market, something like that, right? Cryptocurrency is a new market, but it does look like it's here to stay. I'm not saying that it's going to zero or anything like that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the market's way too big to disappear, right? We're trading $5.5 billion a day. This is a monster market. Regardless, it might pale in comparison to the stock market, but it doesn't matter. Like, that's a lot of money coming in and out within a 24-hour time frame. The recent spike was $9 billion of transactions. That's a lot of money, right? So anyways, that's one of the big red flags for me about calling this the bottom. The second thing that I've talked about in my prior videos is that here we have a spike up, right? And we've seen these spikes. We've seen these, I call them like the little push bars, the manipulation of the market. And we can see what happened after every single one of these. There's another one down here. You can barely see it. But anyways, we've seen, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is actually the 5th iteration. I was saying the 4th iteration from here down in my prior video. So since the 6,000 bottom, we've had literally 4 iterations of this to where price has just been absolutely destroyed, because it's like you have a pole in the sand and then you're trying to build a house on top of that and not expect it to topple over. And that's what's happened every single time. So that's another reason on why I'm reluctant to call this a bottom and hype it up. Now, I know there's a lot of people screaming that it is the bottom and it's going to the moon and that's going to attract a lot of people. You know, it's not that I want to remain bearish on Bitcoin. I know a lot of people that are invested in Bitcoin, and the last thing I want to do is see anybody lose their money. But these are some big red flags that are still out there. So let's get down to the numbers. And the numbers are that if we can push up above about if we can maintain this orange line, right? This is our orange line cutting right through price action. This is cutting right through what's happening recently between buyers and sellers. If we can get above this area and sustain trading above about 80.70 to about 8100 tonight or tomorrow, and we continue to push upward, the first barrier to break through is going to be 84.59. If we can break through 84.59, then price is going to head to the 9200 zone. All right, if we head to the 9200 zone and we break above the 9200 zone, which I believe we will, if we break above this area, I will tell you we're going to break above the 9200 zone. When we do that, we put in a higher high. Then we will form a deeper correction, okay? Because as price gets extended, right? As price expends energy, it has to recapture that energy through either horizontal movement or corrective moves. Okay, so that's just the basics of energy and in trading. So as that happens, as we hit the 9200s level, if we bust out of that, we're going to have a deeper correction, and that will put in the higher low. And then you can obviously see what's occurring is that the market is changing direction, obviously creating a bull market in Bitcoin. Now, if we fail this area and we cannot sustain trading above this area and we start to move downward, okay, then I believe we're going to put in a correction somewhere in the mid 7,000 range. The mid 7,000 range, then from there we will push back up, and then we will either fail before 8,400 or we will burst through and then continue on the path I just discussed, okay? So if we do have a softer shoulder reaction and we cannot break above 84.59, then we are going to head downward. And this right here is a gap. We will close this gap out easily. And I do think that if we're going to head downward towards the 64.25 range, that we will take that range out and continue our downward movement as we've seen previously based on all these spikes, you know, back in the chart. If you remember that part of the video, if not, just rewind it to that part, watch it again, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. But anyways, that's what I see happening. So that's it for tonight's video. If you do like the content, you know, like, subscribe, follow. I do bring out the Bitcoin videos every single day. I'm going to talk about the stock market. I'll talk about commodities, and I'll talk about some Forex as well too in the future. I'll probably do those videos maybe like twice a week, 3 times a week. It depends. I am heavily invested more in the stock market than I am in Bitcoin. But anyways, I'll have a wide variety of videos on my YouTube channel and through my social media sources. Now, I would suggest that if you are interested in cryptocurrency or you're a cryptocurrency trader, that I do have a free Slack channel that you can easily join. You can learn more about that. Go to geometriccharts.com. At the bottom, I have a link to my Slack channel and my social media accounts. The Slack channel already has like over, I think it's 220 or 230 members. Everybody's extremely friendly. It is cryptocurrency oriented. People share their opinions. People share charts. People share news. It's just an amazing community to be a part of with people from all over the world that are interested in cryptocurrency. And everybody, like I said, is very friendly. They help each other out. It's like if you ask a question, you can pretty much guarantee you're going to get an answer from somebody. And we have people all over the world, so the channel, you know, has conversations going on like basically all day long due to the different time zones going on. And then I also post my videos there, so if you don't get an update, you know, via the social media outlet you're using, like Twitter or YouTube or something like that, and you don't see the update, you have the Slack channel where I post. As soon as I post a video, I just put a little note in there and tell everybody, hey, the video has been posted. So you kind of have that as like a catch, in case you don't get notifications through the other outlets. Another thing too is I do offer a subscription service trading, to where I actually give buy and sell entries on Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies, and basically anything that anybody requests that's a subscriber, and the stock market and commodities and so forth. So like I said, that's where I trade a lot of. It's the stock market and commodities. That's where I see the biggest return in the future coming up here. I do think, once Bitcoin starts to finalize that it is going to change direction in market and put in that higher high, higher low, then I'll start allocating more money to there as well too. But I still play Bitcoin, don't get me wrong, but a majority of it's the stock market, because I feel like there's going to be a bigger reward there than there is in Bitcoin, for example, right now, only because the overall sentiment of the market, which is a big indication of where you can find opportunity, is extremely bearish. And I like to take advantage of those situations to where sentiment is extremely bearish, because I know what the overall trend is of the stock market, and I do believe that's going to be the biggest reward for the short term. So that's the only reason why I'm more allocated there over Bitcoin. But I still play Bitcoin, okay? So I'm still invested into it. It's not like I'm just coming out here giving you random numbers and not doing anything with those numbers. But if you're interested in that, you can learn more about that at geometriccharts.com. Other than that, I hope everybody has a great day or great night, and I'll post another Bitcoin video tomorrow. And like I said, if you did like the video, please like it and subscribe for future content. Thank you.